Police want the freedom to release more details of some investigations in an effort to prevent misinformation. The National Police Chiefs Council, the College of Policing and Counter-Terrorism Policing say that they should be allowed to say more when a tipping point is reached and accusations of a cover-up could result in violence. It follows the Southport attack in July, when misinformation about the attacker snowballed on social media, leading to riots across the UK. Well, joining me now is the police commentator, Graham Wettone. Graham, always good to have you in the studio. You think this has been a long time coming, don't you?
Yeah, I think the justice system, the justice process, this is about a review into the contempt of court laws. So I think it's right the justice system should have a look at it. We live in a 24/7 world where online news, online media, etc. is available to everybody. And I think UK public look at information that's released by other countries and wonder why in this country the police service, it looks like it's the police, cannot release more information about certain cases. Details of religious motivation, etc., ideologies. The Southport attack was a prime example of misinformation being posted online, the public rightly getting upset and quite angry about it, and then we saw the disorder on the streets. And the police had the information, it could have negated that and countered it at an early stage.
Yeah, and then that creates a very difficult situation for police on the ground, doesn't it, as those tensions are bubbling up and over?
Yeah, it does, and that's difficult then for police chiefs who have the information that can counter this misleading and inaccurate online information that's being posted, that people are reading and believing. They're told, when they ask the prosecution service, can we release this information? It's like, we're not too sure, it might prejudice a fair trial, so maybe don't release it yet. They then have to deal with the increasing disorder on the streets when they have the information that could negate that very quickly. It's very frustrating.
But laws around preserving the integrity of the judicial process are important, but from what you're saying, there's information that could be released and still preserve that integrity of the trial, but it isn't.
Yeah, I think the scales of justice should be balanced more. As I said, we live in such a world now where, and again, the justice laws haven't caught up with how much information is available online that the public can now read and see it. You can no longer wait for a trial to start to get the actual facts. Some of the inaccurate facts are being posted online, and policing needs the ability to negate that very quickly, to stop disorder occurring and to actually stop those misleading facts being believed by people, being believed by the public. So policing needs the ability to do this. So the justice system needs to look at this and on certain cases, in certain instances, allow the police to release slightly more information that still won't prejudice the trial. But that is a fundamental right for people.
The example of Austria gets mentioned a lot, doesn't it, around the Taylor Swift concert and the potential terror attack there. Talk us through that and you know what the parallels might be.
Well, again, she came to the UK after that, and we held, the concerts were held here with a review of the security arrangements, etc. The Austrian police released a lot more information than we would have done probably in this country. They released the details of the substances found, the motivation, the ideologies, the details of the suspects. A lot of information which my experience in the UK, the prosecution service wouldn't have allowed the police to release. So far more context and detail. American authorities do the same. I watch American press briefings after an incident, and they'll tell you the incident they were called to, the time they arrived, the units they deployed, what they found when they got there. There's a lot more context across the globe in information released to the media and the public than there is in the UK, and we still sit behind these fairly ancient and old contempt laws around right to a fair trial. It's a fundamental principle of justice system, but there needs to be balance now with the amount of information. And it also references, I think, in the report, people with a high profile in society need to be careful as well of what they post online and what they say publicly at the start of incidents, because they carry a lot more weight if they hold a position of authority and the public see and hear people say things because of some information they've read online, which they may not have proved either the corroboration or the source of it.
So if we're applying a much more conservative lens on this and balancing the risks in a much more conservative way than other countries, how realistic is it, do you think, that you're going to get what police are calling for? And why do you think we are more conservative here?
I think we're conservative because our justice processes, the contempt of court laws, go back such a long way. That hasn't caught up with modern society. Policing, UK policing, hasn't caught up with modern society in respect of online forums, online chat. people discussing things. There's been numerous cases over the last 5-10 years where there's been speculation online, people have reacted to it and then come out and formed their own theories. And those theories then get posted, they get reposted, more people read it, and before you can react to it, policing can react to it, it suddenly becomes, in inverted commas, the truth. People believe it as the truth. By the time you come out and say, actually, that is inaccurate, we've now got evidence, we've had evidence, now we can share it with you, they don't believe it. They start to think there's a conspiracy going on or you're trying to mislead them. So I think the justice system needs to look at this very carefully and just redress the balance a bit and give policing the opportunity to negate any misleading and inaccurate facts that are posted.
But given all you've said about the tradition around the preserving the legal process, do you think there's going to be any change?
I'd like to think there is, because we've seen in the last couple of years with various incidents, Southport, the Nicola Bulley case, there are things being posted online that people are reacting to. Sometimes it results in disorder, sometimes it just results in lots of people coming out and posting inaccurate facts. The policing have to release even more information than they actually want to. If they'd been allowed to release it early on, it would have negated an awful lot of speculation in the Bulley case as one prime example, but again in Southport as well. So I think this review needs to seriously consider giving the police, trusting them with the knowledge. They understand the justice system, they understand the right to a fair trial and evidentially what can be released. They have the information, they need to have the ability, if it's required, and not every case will need it, but if it's required, certain cases will need people to, or the police to be able to release factual information that the investigators have corroborated and proved that negates any false and misleading accounts online.
OK. All right, Graham, as ever, always great to get your analysis. Thank you.